I never had feelings for my husband, and I didn't want him living like a caged bird. So I told him that I was okay if he got himself a side chick. Now I feel irrelevant. I met Frank under circumstances that most people would probably call unfortunate, but to me it felt like fate. My life before him was nothing short of a disaster. Abusive parents, broken relationships, and a general sense of hopelessness that hovered over me like a thick fog. I never imagined I would find someone like Frank in my life. He was the antithesis of everything I'd ever known. He was patient, kind, and generous, not just with his resources but with his heart. I didn't love him when we got married, not in the way you're supposed to. But I didn't need to love him. I just needed to be safe, to be away from the chaos I had grown up in, and Frank was more than willing to provide that for me. He didn't just marry me for love, he married me to save me. It sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? But that's exactly what happened. He was the first person who showed me what unconditional care could look like. He didn't ask for anything in return except my companionship. But love? That was never part of the deal. Not on my end anyway. And somewhere deep down I knew that wasn't fair to him. I couldn't fake feelings I didn't have, no matter how much he wanted me to. Frank hoped, even after we got married, that somehow, eventually, I would fall in love with him. He believed that with time those feelings would come. But after years of being together, I realized that wasn't going to happen. It wasn't that I didn't care for him, I did deeply. But love, the romantic kind, the kind that sets hearts on fire and makes you want to spend every waking moment together, was something I couldn't offer him. We made it work though. We worked side by side, built a life, a business, a future. We supported each other in every way that didn't involve romantic love. Intimacy between us was never awkward. In fact, it was comforting. We were two people who cared for each other deeply, but it was more like siblings or best friends than husband and wife. And for a while that was enough for both of us. I didn't need romance and neither did he, at least not in the way most people would. The idea of divorce came up eventually, as these things do when you're in a situation like ours. But neither of us wanted it. It would complicate things, affect our business, our lives. We were partners in every sense of the word and neither of us wanted to lose that. But I could see the quiet ache in Frank's eyes. He deserved more than what I could offer him. I knew that. So, I made a decision that would change everything. I gave him the freedom to find someone else. I told him I was okay with it. I told him I wanted him to have what I couldn't give him. A partner who could love him the way he loved me. I didn't want him to feel trapped in a life that wasn't fulfilling, especially when he had so much love to give. If he found someone who could return that love, I wanted him to have that. The first 2 years were surprisingly uneventful. Frank didn't pursue anyone. He respected my wishes and I respected his. But then, 3 months ago, everything shifted. He came to me with a confession. A woman had entered his life, and he was developing feelings for her. He told me with a mix of excitement and shame and I could see how torn he was. But I didn't flinch. I didn't hesitate. I told him that I was happy for him. I hugged him, genuinely happy that he had found someone who could give him the affection he so richly deserved. He was still the same Frank I had married, kind, loving, attentive. But now he was lighter. I could see the glow in his eyes when he spoke about her. It wasn't like the way he looked at me and that was okay. I wasn't threatened by it. If anything, it made me feel at peace, knowing he wasn't stuck in a relationship where he couldn't get what he needed. I never wanted to meet her. Not because I was jealous, but because I didn't want to complicate things. But curiosity got the better of me and I had some background checks done on her. She seemed fine, well-adjusted, independent, and perfectly okay with the arrangement we had. She wasn't interested in marriage, which frankly was a relief. I didn't want to lose Frank in the traditional sense and neither did she. It was the perfect arrangement for all of us. Frank was happy, I was happy, and she seemed content too. But as time passed, I found myself questioning things. Why did I still feel like I didn't want to lose him? I had given him the freedom to explore, yet I found myself holding on tightly. Why didn't I want him to go, even though I had opened the door for him to find happiness elsewhere? It was confusing. I wasn't jealous. Not really. But there was something in me that didn't want to let go of him. And then there was the intimacy. I didn't have romantic feelings for him, but when we made love, it felt different than it should. There was no burning passion, no longing to be with him forever, but there was something comforting about it. I could feel his presence in a way that made me feel safe. Was this my way of loving him? Was I simply too attached to him, too used to the life we had built together, to let go of him? I had never been interested in dating anyone else. Oh, I had a brief fling once just to see if maybe I could find what I was missing. But it didn't feel like anything worth pursuing. I was too wrapped up in my life with Frank. And then, I started to wonder if I was aromantic. If maybe the connection I had with Frank wasn't romantic at all. Maybe I cared for him deeply, but not in the way that would justify the jealousy or possessiveness I felt when I thought about losing him. I wasn't in love with him, but I didn't want him to go either. It didn't make sense. But in a way it didn't need to. I cared for him in a way that was unique to us, and maybe that was enough. I didn't need to label it or define it by romantic standards. What we had was something special, even if it wasn't what society expected it to be. Our arrangement worked and we were happy. I had given him the freedom he needed, and in return, I found a strange comfort in the fact that he was still there with me. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't traditional. But maybe it was just what we both needed, even if we didn't fully understand it ourselves.